I'm Rebecca Weber. You're listening to AMAC's podcast, Better for America. Today's episode is brought to you by the AMAC app. The AMAC app is your go-to landing spot for up-to-date real news, polls, and interactive games. In addition to all of the great money-saving benefits that AMAC has to offer, just search AMAC in your app store and download. Now, joining us today is the great University of Pennsylvania swimmer who has recently chosen to speak publicly about her experience competing on the school's women's swim team with biological male Lia Thomas. Paula Scanlon, welcome to Better for America. We're thrilled to have you with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
So, Paula, first, tell us about how you became a Division I college swimmer. That's no joke. You must have worked your entire life to reach this incredible achievement. Share your journey with us.
Yeah, so I started swimming for a swim team when I was in third grade. Our town had happened to just finish building an Olympic-sized pool, which was a pretty big deal, and my parents thought it would be a good after-school activity. But when I was in sixth grade, my brother went off to college, and he never swam, so it was really my opportunity to have something that was really my own. So starting in sixth grade and all through middle school, I started taking swimming pretty seriously. And by the time I was a freshman, I knew it was going to be a possibility for me to swim D1. So I just kept working really hard at it. And obviously when it came time to apply to colleges and talk to coaches, I was definitely in the ballpark of being allowed to swim D1. And obviously ended up working out and getting in. But through high school, that was my goal, was to get into a Division I program. So I worked really hard to get there.
You sure did, since third grade. That's a lot of swimming. Now, recently you spoke out about your experience being on University of Pennsylvania's team with Lia Thomas, the first biological male to win the women's NCAA championship. Can you tell us about your personal experience, and in particular, the athletic department's attempt to silence any concerns or objections?
Yeah, it was a very challenging situation for everyone involved, and the university did not do a very good job of preempting the situation. They should have had discretion to understand that it was going to be a controversial experience for everyone on the team that season. But it wasn't until media stories started coming that the athletic department came in and spoke to us. And in those meetings, they advised us not to talk to the press. They told us that Lia being on the team was a non-negotiable, and they provided counseling services for anyone that objected to Lia being on the team. So it was a very scary situation because they were telling us essentially that if we thought a man being on our team was wrong, that we needed psychological help to correct that.
All your life, or as a young girl, knowing that you'd be competing with women, and now you're forced to accept it or see a therapist. That is just unbelievable. How did your teammates react?
Well, at this point, we were afraid to even talk to each other because we were told even having a conversation saying that we might think that it's wrong is unacceptable. So at this point, there were people you could have one-on-one conversations with, or you could say to a small group of people on the team saying, oh, we don't really think this is fair. And then after that meeting, we were afraid to even speak to each other because we didn't know who was going to go tell on you. If I told someone my opinion, one of my teammates could just run to the athletic department and say, oh, Paula isn't participating in this re-education that they have, and she's speaking out against Lia and is a horrible person. So it was very effective. We didn't even want to talk to each other about it, let alone the media, let alone come out and make a public statement.
Yeah. And this is why we're concerned here at AMAC, because it seems that there's people on the far left that want to change what we believe to be true. What we believe to be true is that you're born as a biological male or female, and science backs that up. That as a male, you're going to be perhaps faster, stronger. So it really is not it's just terribly unfair. And when you think about how far we've come really to protect women's sports, and now they want to go back and make women in particular, feel bad about speaking up and stepping up, for their values, what they believe is right and wrong. I have to ask you, Lia Thomas, is he changing in the same areas with you folks? Is he? Did they give him any special sort of treatment to keep him separate and apart, or was he forced in as if he was another woman?
Yeah, Lia changed in the locker room with us like any other girl on the team. And we originally were told that maybe there would be an additional locker room, or maybe Leah would continue to change with the men because, again, Leah had done that on the men's team for 3 years already. But when the season started, Leah had a locker right next to a bunch of girls. And just like anyone else on the team, it was just very much, we as a member of the women's team, all privileges included to that.
In your view, personally, what did you lose because of this forced situation that you were put in?
Yeah, so not just myself, but other individuals. Girls lost opportunities to compete on relay spots. Swimming is a limited roster sport where not everyone on the team can go to every meet. So quite literally, there were girls or one girl each time that was left off the bus to go to the competitions. And then on top of that, just overall discouraging. It's just discouraging to go into a competition where you know what the outcome will be. There's a lot of girls on the team that swam similar events to Leah, and I was not one of those people, so I can't speak directly for them. But we go into the race and it's very discouraging knowing that you're not going to be the number one girl on our team, or you're not going to place first at this competition where you normally would have. So the opportunities, and it's so many different people. The argument is always made that this is transgenders are such a small number in these sports. But in reality, there's 30, 40, 50 girls that are affected by each and every one of these decisions, because every girl that places after a biological male is losing out on the opportunity to be a plate higher. And then in competitive competitions where there's actually prize money associated to it, right? Every single woman is losing out on the prize money every single spot they place afterwards. So it's so many people that are affected by this, and people don't really realize that.
Yeah. Now, Paula, you've been open about your own background as a proud Taiwanese American. What do you think is so important for why is it so important, rather, for America to lead on these issues, and particularly to protect the free speech of athletes like yourself?
Yes. One of the foundations America was built on is the idea of free speech. And when my grandfather, he loved America, and he saw that there was issues in Taiwan where there wasn't freedom of press, there wasn't freedom of speech. And he wanted to mimic what we had in America. And if we are doing this here, we set the tone for every other country to also do the same. And it's kind of an American-centric view, but it really is true. So many countries in the world look to America for policy, for rules, for amendments in their constitutions as well. And so that's where this is very important. If we don't have free speech here in America, we can't guarantee that other countries will also have free speech.
That's exactly right. Very well said. Your grandfather was certainly a smart man, and I love that he instilled that in you. Now, in April, the House of Representatives, they voted to pass a bill to ban biological males from competing in women's sports at federally funded schools. But this is facing almost complete opposition in the Democrat-controlled Senate. Why do you believe it's important that leaders on both sides of the aisle come together to pass this legislation? And how do we get them? How do we do that? It should be a bipartisan issue.
Yeah, it definitely should be bipartisan. I think we really need to go to have one-on-one meetings with some of these politicians, because I know that some of these Democratic politicians do believe in what a woman is and do believe that women deserve equal rights and protection under the law. So it's up to us to go to them and really hold their feet to the fire and make them take a stance on this issue. This is not an anti-trans issue. This is a pro-woman issue. And if you can't respect women in society, then you should not be in a place of power in this country.
That's right. And us women, Paula, we're the ones who have to speak out to protect women. That's why I just applaud your voice, really. Now, you've spoken openly about your Christian faith, and you've made it abundantly clear that you hold no animosity toward Leah Thomas or other transgender athletes. How do your religious convictions shape the way that you respond to those who oppose your brave decision to speak out and share your story?
The biggest thing for me is just having trust. It took me a lot of time and reflection and prayer to get to the point where I was open to speak out and understanding that this is what God wants me to do and where God wants me to be. but definitely just continuing to trust. Every single time I do any interview here, I always remind myself of who this is for. It's for the greater good. It's for the young girls that don't have voices. It's for the women that we don't know are going to be affected by this yet. And it's really staying grounded in that. This is not one individual person being upset about losing out on opportunities or losing in a race or whatever it might be. This is a thing that we have to stand up for everyone in, and it's not about one individual person's experience. It's for the greater good of women in society.
And Paula, I love that you said speaking up, standing up for the young girls without a voice. Thank you so much for what you're doing. We here at AMAC will be praying for you and really cheering you on. Thank you so much for joining us today and for having the courage to speak out publicly about your great experience. We here at AMAC want to wish you the best of luck moving forward. God bless you very much, Paula.
Thank you so much for having me on.
If you enjoyed this episode, you can listen to more just like it. Check us out on iTunes, Spotify, or by downloading the AMAC app. Don't forget to follow us on social media. Until next time, I'm Rebecca Weber. This is your podcast, Better for America. Thank you for being here. Have a wonderful evening.